In all sports, every single sport, every single thing out there actually, business, life, relationships, there are always extremes. Imagine this bell curve, right? They got the whatever standard deviations, 1 or 2 or 3 standard deviations. Those that are good at math, I'm decent at math, but I'm not that great. But you got people in different segments where you have people in the very far extreme of things. And before I kind of go into my talk about fitness extremes, I kind of wanted to go over sort of my perspective, because I think it's important that you understand that my perspective is just one perspective. It's just my viewpoint based on my history. Just like anything you see out there from other people, it's their history, their viewpoint. And my viewpoint as a personal trainer working in a big box gym like 24 Hour Fitness, currently working at UFC Gym, getting regular people in shape, never really participated in any high-level sports, didn't do any bodybuilding, just got into powerlifting within the last year and a half. And that's kind of my perspective. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Never been amazing at anything. It seems like I'm pretty decent at deadlifting, but outside of that, still far from exceptional, far from being extreme. But I think it's important to understand that for me, I work with just regular people. My introduction to the squat, the deadlift as a form of as a measuring stick for how strong you are comes from actually CrossFit. Because when I got to UFC Gym, we had some CrossFitters there that were trainers, and there are quite the passionate bunch, definitely elitist. But that's my first exposure. You've got to understand that I'm coming from a box gym, people that get a certification, get their feet wet in the fitness industry, just trying to be a one-on-one trainer or coach, or maybe become a general manager in some memberships or something like that, So I've never really had any exposure to I've talked to some members who did bodybuilding and who did like fitness competitions and shows and whatnot, but I mean nothing like powerlifting, nothing like Olympic weightlifting, nothing like essentially working in a box. And I'm not even talking about like a CrossFit box, because CrossFit, when I was in fitness, when I was working at 24, it was really just big box gyms, and then you have the mom and pops kind of independents, and then you would have these obscure gyms like powerlifting gyms, which I really didn't know existed. Maybe I kind of knew about them, but they're just basically hole in the wall. And the truth is, these hole in the wall places are probably the best places to train. But again, this is a guy from the outside looking in, who's just barely brand new, stepping inside the powerlifting realm. So thus far, CrossFit has sort of been the main thing that's kind of got me into the path to powerlifting, because that's when they started to know how much can you squat, how much can you deadlift. It was sort of like one of those things. Can you deadlift, a lot of weight, 500 pounds? It's sort of one of those, it's one of those lifts, right? And I figured, I tried the CrossFit thing, I kept getting hurt, so why not try powerlifting, right? Or not powerlifting, try deadlifting. I don't even powerlifting, right? I've done marathons and I've done running, but I've never actually done like any type of powerlifting. So this is kind of where I'm at right now. And in extremes, like bodybuilding is in its own sense, essentially the extreme of dieting. We're talking about eating out of a box. And we're talking about people, genetics is going to always play a role in every sport, every fitness community, every segment of fitness. And the thing to understand is that genetics are going to give people certain advantages, and there's nothing you can do about it. Some people can outwork some of the people that don't want to work as hard with gifts. And the one thing I do want to talk about is bodybuilding is more like a dieting sport in my opinion, because you have to don't get me wrong, you have to work hard, you have to still get lean, but there is no sport like bodybuilding physique going on stage where you have to eat in a way where essentially your diet is dependent upon your entire success. It has to be as strict as possible to get you where you want to be. And don't get me wrong, other sports have that same element, but it's based on how you look. There's no real component of having to lift a certain amount of weight or even win a game. So that would be like bodybuilding. Now, CrossFit, powerlifting, and Olympic weightlifting are in their own realm. Some people, CrossFit being sort of the new thing right now, is that they have their extremes. And at their extremes, they are not safe. Or I should say they're not safe. They are not healthy. Everything is safe. Technically, everything is dangerous. Because occasionally on my YouTube channel, or sometimes when I post something on Facebook, someone will say, oh, you're going to hurt your back, or your back is rounding. And and I kind of defend my position sometimes, but sometimes I just have to kind of stop for a second and realize that where are these people coming from? They're under the impression that weights are unsafe. And obviously they're not educated. They don't know what it means to what it means to be a powerlifter or to deadlift lots of weight. Of course, there are inherent risks, but that's the choice we make, right? CrossFit doing these high rep stuff. You see these guys wearing a shitload of KT tape, right? Wear all kinds of stuff, right? Just so that they can, people, I remember I saw this one on the CrossFit Games. There was this lady who like tweaked her leg, her quad. She pulled her, I think, her quad, and she was trying to do some overhead lunges, and she was struggling like hell. It's crazy how hard these people work, but. And then you look at powerlifting. You got these, everyone's like wrapped up. I mean, come on, people who wrap up their knees, I mean, their legs are turning purple, right? I mean, if you've ever had your knees wrapped up in a way where you got the most out of them, you can't feel your feet, right? Olympic weightlifting, I'm not too familiar with, but I mean, in the end, if you've never actually done a snatch or a clean and jerk, if you've ever seen a snatch for the first time, it almost looks like you're going to dislocate your shoulder. And that's what this is. It's sports for the love of whatever it is that we're into. And we have to remember that it's not really being fit. It's about being good. It's about being great. It's about being better than everybody else, or better, or significantly better than the average. Because I think that's what a lot of us strive to do when we get into this fitness thing. We want to get better. We want to keep getting better. And then you get past this point of what it means to be healthy. And then you realize, because in truth, to be healthy when it comes to squatting, all you have to do is squat the parallel or below parallel. And if you can squat below the parallel with your body weight, I mean, you're pretty much beating away a lot of people. Not that you're trying to compete anybody in the body weight squat, but understand that most people can't even get to a point of can't even squat there, right? So it's sort of interesting because when you make a decision to compete or make a decision to make a significant performance jump, like Nas was talking about, or even a lot of bodybuilders who do cuts and they try to get in fitness shape and try to really get lean, they lose their sex drive, they don't feel good, they're totally unhealthy, they don't sleep well. Basically, they just feel like total shit for a really long time. I mean, as a powerlifter, do I ever feel like shit? When I was cutting, yeah, but that's only 3 days. I mean, I get pain, like I have knee issues, back issues, and I kind of put myself in some risky positions when I lift and try to make a lift. But that's what it's about. It's that joy to like overcome something and prove to others, or just prove to yourself, or just get better, right? Be a part of something that's important to you that other people share. This is one of the reasons I always go back to Magic the Gathering, because again, it's my perspective. This is what I did growing up. This is what I grew up doing, is computer games and Magic the Gathering. It's my relation. But the problem is sitting on your ass is not very good for your physical being. So I've put myself in a different extreme where instead of playing a shitload of Magic online or Magic in real person now, I'm actually going to a point of pushing myself to my limits with lifting. Because again, I've said before, and I've said recently, that I want to make a 700-pound deadlift in my lifetime. I'm pretty much going to hit 600 pounds by the end of the year. Squat, I want to hit a bench, 400-pound bench in 2 years, right? So these are my goals. These are something that's really, really important to me. And I'm going to do it at some risk of getting injured, right? And of course, I'm not going to make any bad decisions. I'm going to focus on having a long-term lifting life. But I think it comes to a point of understanding that we are not, if you're in powerlifting, Olympic lifting, high level, just trying to get as good as you can possibly get, you realize that you are not striving for health anymore. You're striving for performance, and performance is different than health. And under most circumstances, you're surpassing what it means to be healthy, and a point where you're unhealthy, right? Lifespan of professional, I'm not a professional athlete, but the lifespan of a professional athlete is definitely lower than the average. Anyways, those are some thoughts on fitness extremes. You can criticize all these things all you want. The matter is, it's what's important to you, it's what's important to me, whatever it is you want to accomplish. Have your opinion, share it with me if you like. I'm curious to know. Thanks for listening.